Okay, so the FBI raided Mar-a-Lago. They took with them reportedly 15 boxes of documents and materials that they did not look through. They plan to look through them after this raid was conducted, after they took all of this material. And this is what's very interesting. The FBI, via the New York Times, because the FBI are a bunch of leakers who are friends with mainstream media hacks, who are happy to propagate the propaganda of the FBI. Through the New York Times, the FBI says that this raid was part of a National Archives investigation. So what is that? Well, the National Archives investigation would mean that President Trump took classified information with him when he left the Oval Office. We actually already knew that he did this, and it's not really that big of a deal. A lot of presidents do this, and President Trump reportedly actually allowed federal investigators 2 months ago, to come to Mar-a-Lago and look through these documents to see if there was something that they wanted or something that they needed. His attorneys conducted this interview with the federal investigators, and Trump himself actually stopped by to say hi, although reportedly he did not answer any questions. That even CNN is reporting. Even CNN is reporting this. So when the New York Times claims that, this is just standard procedure for a National Archives investigation, that's laughable on two fronts. First of all, no, there is no precedent ever of the FBI raiding the personal residence of a former president who is also likely to run for re-election next cycle. That has never happened. And two, it would not be necessary for someone, even a former president who was cooperating with federal investigators looking for information that they might not want him to have outside of a classified setting, to raid his home. A raid like this is a last resort in any kind of investigation, but an investigation like this from the National Archives, a raid with sirens and lights flashing, they reportedly broke into his safe. They brought a safe cracker with him, someone who breaks into safes. The safe was empty, but that didn't stop them. This is President Trump's statement. Let me read this. Let me bring this up. This is so bananas that this is happening in our country. This is what Trump said. These are dark times for our nation as my beautiful home, Mar-a-Lago in Palm Beach, Florida, is currently under siege, raided and occupied by a large group of FBI agents. Nothing like this has ever happened to a president of the United States before. After working and cooperating with the relevant government agencies, this unannounced raid on my home was not necessary or appropriate. It is prosecutorial misconduct, the weaponization of the justice system, and an attack by radical leftist Democrats who desperately don't want me to run for president in 2024, especially based on recent polls, and who will likewise do anything to stop Republicans and conservatives in the upcoming midterm elections. Such an assault could only take place in broken third world countries. Sadly, America has now become one of those countries, corrupt at a level not seen before. They even broke into my safe. What's the difference between this and Watergate, where operatives broke into the Democrat National Committee? Here, in reverse, Democrats broke into the home of the 45th president of the United States. The political persecution of President Donald J. Trump has been going on for years, with the now fully debunked Russia scam, impeachment hoax number 1, impeachment hoax number 2, and so much more. It just never ends. It's political targeting at the highest level. Hillary Clinton was allowed to delete and acid wash 33,000 emails after they were subpoenaed by Congress. Absolutely nothing happened to hold her accountable. She even took antique furniture and other items from the White House. I stood up to America's bureaucratic corruption, Trump writes. I restored power to the people and truly delivered for our country like we've never seen before. The establishment hated it. Now, as they watch my endorsed candidates win big victories and see my dominance in all the polls, they're trying to stop me and the Republican Party once more. The lawlessness, political persecution, and witch hunt must be exposed and stopped. I will continue to fight for the American people. I don't think that I have ever seen before on Twitter or on cable news or in any of the furious text messages that I've gotten from almost everyone that I know in politics tonight, the level of fury that I'm seeing in response to this. The phrase banana republic has been used so much in politics that it's belittled in a sense. There's a lot of uses of that phrase that make it sound like the boy who cried wolf, but this is actually banana republic stuff. For the FBI to be weaponized against a former president, not just because he's the former president, but because he has I'm sure, going to run for president in 2024, whether he announces tomorrow or whether he announces after the midterms. Of course, he's going to run for president in 2024. Biden is historically unpopular. Inflation is at 9.1%. There's violence all over our country. And so what do the Democrats do? They use the power of the FBI to do what they used the power of the FBI to try to do in 2016, to target their political opponent, to weaponize the power of the federal government against someone who's a threat to their political agenda. That happens in third world countries. Trump is right. That happens at the hands of dictators. That's not supposed to happen in a nation of law and order, a constitutional republic, a nation based on the rule of law. The FBI already looked at those documents. They had access to those documents, which means that the National Archives investigation, that's the reasoning the FBI tells the New York Times, that line was utterly bullshit, which we already knew.